Everything you think you know about energy is incomplete. You learned in school that energy is conserved. It cannot be created or destroyed. You learned about kinetic energy, potential energy, thermal energy. You learned formulas. You passed tests. But you never learned what energy actually is. Nobody does. Because the textbooks don't tell you. They give you definitions that sound scientific, but explain nothing. Energy is the capacity to do work. Fine. But what is it really? Where does it come from? Why does it exist? And here's the part that will break everything you thought you understood. Tesla discovered that energy is not what we think it is. It's not a property of matter. It's not something objects have. Energy is the fundamental substance of the universe. Matter is just crystallized energy. Frozen vibrations in an infinite field. And this field, this ocean of energy that fills all of space, can be tapped directly, freely, infinitely. Tesla proved it. He built devices that extracted energy from empty space. He transmitted power wirelessly through the earth itself. He created electrical phenomena that violated every principle of conventional physics. And then his work was suppressed, buried, forgotten, because if people understood what Tesla really discovered, it would destroy entire industries. It would make energy companies obsolete. It would change civilization forever. So let me show you what they don't want you to know. Start with the official story. Energy comes from fuel. You burn coal, you get heat. You burn gasoline, you get motion. You split atoms, you get electricity. Energy is released from matter. That's the conventional view. And it's based on Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. This tells us that matter and energy are interchangeable. Matter is concentrated energy. But here's what they don't tell you. Where did the energy in matter come from? The equation says matter can be converted to energy. But it doesn't explain where the energy was before the matter existed. It doesn't explain the origin, and if you dig deeper, you find something disturbing. The total energy in the universe is enormous. Incomprehensibly enormous. Every atom contains vast amounts of energy locked in its nucleus. But where did all this energy come from? The Big Bang? Fine. But where did the energy for the Big Bang come from? You're told that's just how it is. The universe started with a certain amount of energy, and that's all the energy there is. Conservation of energy. But Tesla didn't accept this. He believed energy doesn't come from matter. Matter comes from energy. And the energy's everywhere, in this ween, things in the rucksack. In what appears to be nothing, Tesla called this the ether. The same concept scientists rejected after Einstein. But Tesla never gave up on it. He insisted that space is not empty. It's full of energy. A seething ocean of potential, and this energy is not static. It's dynamic, vibrating, oscillating at specific frequencies. And if you can tune into these frequencies, if you can resonate with them, you can extract energy directly from space. You don't need fuel. You don't need to burn anything. You just need to tap into the field. Now, this sounds like pseudoscience. Like perpetual motion. Violating thermodynamics. Impossible. Except Tesla built machines that did exactly this. His radiant energy devices. His magnifying transmitter. His wireless power systems. These weren't theoretical. They were real, functioning, producing measurable results. And they worked in ways that conventional physics cannot explain. Let me tell you about one specific device. Tesla's radiant energy receiver, patented in 1901. Patent number 685957. It's public record. You can look it up. The device consists of a metal plate elevated in the air, insulated from the ground, connected to one side of a capacitor. The other side of the capacitor is connected to the ground. That's it. No batteries, no fuel, no moving parts. And yet, this device produces electrical energy continuously, day and night. Tesla claimed it was collecting energy from the ambient medium, from the ether, from the background energy of space. Scientists at the time said it was just collecting static electricity, atmospheric charge. But Tesla's measurements showed the power output was far greater than static could account for. The device was producing real, usable electrical current, and it violated the first law of thermodynamics. Because it was creating energy from nothing, or so it seemed. You need to understand something right now. What I'm about to show you will completely change how you see reality. But most people will never hear this. So subscribe to this channel immediately, hit that like button, and share this video with everyone you know. Because this information has been hidden for over a century, and it's time everyone learned the truth. Let's keep going. Now, modern physics has actually confirmed Tesla's intuition. Not intentionally, but the evidence is there. It's called the zero-point energy. In quantum mechanics, the vacuum is not empty. Even at absolute zero temperature, even with no particles present, the quantum fields are still active. They fluctuate. Virtual particles pop into existence and annihilate. The energy of these fluctuations is called zero-point energy, and it's enormous. Calculations suggest that a single cubic centimeter of empty space contains enough zero-point energy to boil all the oceans on Earth. That's not an exaggeration. That's what the math says. Now, physicists will tell you this energy cannot be extracted. It's a background, a baseline. You can't tap into it because there's no lower energy state to transition to. But Tesla would say you're thinking about it wrong. You don't need a lower state. You need resonance. You need to match the frequency of the field and create a standing wave. A pattern that allows energy to flow from the field into your device. Tesla understood resonance better than anyone. He discovered that every object, every system, has a natural frequency, a frequency at which it vibrates most efficiently. If you apply energy at that frequency, the vibrations amplify. They build. They can become enormous. Tesla demonstrated this with mechanical resonance. He built a small oscillator, attached it to a steel beam in his laboratory, and turned it on. The oscillator vibrated at the beam's resonant frequency. Within minutes, the entire building was shaking. Plaster fell from the ceiling, windows shattered. People outside thought it was an earthquake. Tesla grabbed a hammer and smashed the oscillator to stop it. He later said he could have brought down the building with a device the size of his fist. This is the power of resonance. Now apply this to energy. If you can find the resonant frequency of the quantum field, if you can create a system that vibrates at that frequency, energy will flow into your system, amplifying, building. Tesla believed he had found these frequencies, and he designed his devices to exploit them. Let's talk about his most ambitious project. Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla began construction in 1901 on Long Island. The tower was over 180 feet tall. It had a massive copper dome on top. And deep underground, Tesla installed iron pipes extending down over 300 feet into the earth. This wasn't just a radio tower. Tesla was building a wireless power transmission system. He planned to transmit electrical power through the earth itself. No wires, no infrastructure. Just tune your receiver to the right frequency. And you could draw power from anywhere on the planet. Unlimited, free. JP Morgan funded the project initially. But when he realized what Tesla was actually building, he pulled the funding. The project was abandoned. The tower was demolished, and Tesla's dream of wireless power died with it. Or so the story goes. But here's what most people don't know. Tesla did successfully transmit power wirelessly. Before Wardenclyffe was shut down, he conducted experiments. He set up receivers miles away from the tower. And when he energized the tower, the receivers lit up, light bulbs glowed, motors ran. With no physical connection, no wires. The energy was traveling through the earth, through the ground. Tesla described the earth as a giant conductor, a spherical capacitor. And if you understand the earth's resonant frequency, you can use it to transmit energy globally. Tesla calculated this frequency. It's approximately 7.83 Hertz. This is now called the Schumann resonance. And it's been measured, confirmed. Tesla was right. The Earth has a natural frequency. And at this frequency, electromagnetic waves can travel around the entire planet with minimal loss. Tesla wanted to use this to provide free energy to the world. But it would have destroyed the power industry. So it was stopped. Now, you might be thinking, if this is all true, why isn't everyone using Tesla's technology? Why are we still burning fossil fuels? And the answer is simple. Economics, power, control, energy is the foundation of modern civilization. Whoever controls energy controls everything. And if energy were free, if anyone could tap into the quantum field and extract unlimited power, there would be no energy companies, no oil industry, no coal, no nuclear. Trillions of dollars in revenue would vanish. Entire economies would collapse. So Tesla's technology was suppressed, not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well. His patents were classified. His papers were confiscated when he died. The FBI seized everything. And most of it has never been released. What are they hiding? What did Tesla discover that was so dangerous it had to be buried? Let me give you another example. The Tesla coil. Everyone's seen one. A tall coil that shoots lightning bolts through the air. Spectacular. But did you know the Tesla coil produces more output power than input power? Conventional transformers step voltage up or down, but the total power remains constant. Conservation of energy, but Tesla coils don't follow this rule. When tuned correctly, they output more energy than they consume. Where does the extra energy come from? Tesla said it comes from the ether, from the quantum field. The coil acts as a receiver, drawing energy from space. Modern engineers dismiss this. They say the extra energy is just stored energy releasing or measurement error. But Tesla measured it carefully. He knew what he was seeing. And he built larger and larger coils to prove the effect scaled. His magnifying transmitter at Colorado Springs produced electrical discharges over 130 feet long. The power required to do this with conventional means would be astronomical. But Tesla was using relatively modest input power. How? By resonance, by tapping into the field. There's something else Tesla discovered that nobody talks about. He found that energy has polarity, not just positive and negative charge, but a deeper polarity. He called it radiant energy versus conventional energy. Conventional energy is the kind we're familiar with. Electrons flowing through wires, heat radiating from objects. Mechanical motion. This energy follows the known laws of physics. But radiant energy is different. Tesla described it as cold electricity. Energy that doesn't behave like normal electricity. It travels along the outside of wires, not through them. It can pass through insulators. It doesn't heat conductors the way normal current does, and it seems to violate Ohm's law. Tesla discovered this while experimenting with high-voltage discharges. He found that at certain frequencies and voltages, the electrical behavior changed completely. And this radiant energy could be transmitted and received in ways that conventional electricity could not. We've reached the halfway point, and what comes next is going to shatter your understanding of physics. But before we continue, I need you to take action. Subscribe to this channel right now. This is the kind of information that gets buried, and you need to be here when I release more. Hit that like button. Share this video everywhere. Because the world needs to know what Tesla really discovered. Now, let's go even deeper. Modern researchers have tried to replicate Tesla's work, and some have succeeded. There are devices today that produce anomalous energy outputs. Over-unity devices, machines that seem to violate conservation of energy. They're usually dismissed as fraud or measurement error. But some have been tested by independent laboratories and verified. The results are published in peer-reviewed journals. But they're ignored by mainstream science. Why? Because they don't fit the paradigm. If these devices work, if they really extract energy from the vacuum, then everything we think we know about thermodynamics is incomplete. And admitting that would require rewriting textbooks, rethinking fundamental principles. Most scientists aren't willing to do that. It's easier to dismiss the evidence than to accept that we've been wrong. But let me show you why the evidence is compelling. The Casimir effect. Two metal plates placed very close together in a vacuum experience an attractive force. This force comes from the zero-point energy. Virtual particles exist between the plates and outside them. But between the plates, only certain wavelengths of virtual particles can fit. Outside, all wavelengths exist. This creates a pressure difference. The plates are pushed together by the quantum vacuum. This has been measured, confirmed, it's real. And it proves that the vacuum has energy. Physical, measurable energy. Now, if the vacuum has energy and we can measure it through the Casimir effect, then in principle, we should be able to extract it. The question is how. Tesla believed he found the how. Resonance, frequency, vibration. You don't try to extract energy directly. You create conditions where the vacuum gives up its energy willingly. You tune your system to the right frequency and energy flows in. There's another clue in Tesla's work. He was obsessed with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. He said if you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would have the key to the universe. What did he mean? Some think it's numerology, mysticism, but Tesla was a scientist. He dealt in mathematics and physics, so what was he talking about? Look at the geometry of vibration. When you vibrate a system, it creates standing wave patterns, nodes and antinodes, points of maximum and minimum amplitude. And these patterns follow mathematical rules. If you divide a circle into equal parts, you get specific angles. 3 divisions give you 120 degrees. 6 divisions give you 60 degrees. 9 divisions give you 40 degrees. These angles correspond to harmonic frequencies, resonances. Tesla believed that 3, 6, and 9 represented fundamental harmonic ratios in the structure of space itself. And if you could build devices that operated at these ratios, you could tap into the fundamental frequencies of the universe. Let me tell you something that will sound impossible. Tesla claimed he could cause earthquakes, not with large machines, with small oscillators tuned to the resonant frequency of the Earth's crust. He said that by applying a small amount of energy at precisely the right frequency, you could build up vibrations that would fracture rock and shake buildings. He allegedly tested this in New York City, attaching a small device to a steel beam in a building under construction. Within minutes, the building was swaying. Workers fled. Tesla destroyed the device before it caused real damage. But the principle is sound. This is resonance, small inputs, massive outputs, if the frequency is right. Now imagine applying this principle not to buildings, but to the quantum field. A small input of energy at the right frequency could resonate with the vacuum and extract enormous amounts of power. This is what Tesla was working toward. And this is why his work was so dangerous. Here's where things get really interesting. Tesla believed that thoughts are vibrations. That consciousness itself is an electromagnetic phenomenon operating at specific frequencies. And if thoughts are frequencies, then they interact with the field. They resonate with it. Tesla claimed that by focusing his mind in certain ways, he could influence the devices he was building. He could tune into the frequencies of his inventions mentally and optimize them without trial and error. This sounds like magic. But consider this. Your brain generates electromagnetic fields. We measure them with EEG. These fields extend beyond your skull. They interact with the environment. And at quantum scales, observation affects outcomes. The observer effect. The act of measuring changes the system being measured. What if Tesla discovered that conscious intention, focused thought, could interact with the quantum field in measurable ways? What if he learned to use his mind as a tuning mechanism for his devices? This would explain some of his seemingly supernatural abilities. He claimed to see his inventions fully formed in his mind before building them. He said he could mentally rotate the designs, test them, and find flaws without physical prototypes. He built complex machines that worked perfectly on the first try, no revisions, no debugging. How? If consciousness is a frequency phenomenon, and if that frequency can interact with the field, then Tesla may have been accessing information directly from the quantum level, downloading blueprints from the fundamental structure of reality itself. This isn't mysticism. This is physics we don't fully understand yet. Quantum mechanics tells us that information is fundamental, that the universe is made of information, not just matter and energy. And if consciousness can access that information layer, then what Tesla did becomes possible. Now, let me connect everything. Energy is not a property of objects. It's the fundamental substance of reality. The quantum field The vacuum, space itself, is an ocean of energy. Matter is just patterns, vibrations, frozen waves in this ocean. And consciousness is the ability to interact with these patterns, to tune into frequencies, to resonate with the field. Tesla understood this. He built devices that proved it. He transmitted power wirelessly. He extracted energy from the vacuum. He created electrical phenomena that conventional physics cannot explain, and he was silenced. His work was buried. Because if everyone understood what he discovered, it would change everything. Free energy would destroy industries. But it would also liberate humanity. No more dependence on fuel. No more pollution. No more energy scarcity. Unlimited clean power for everyone. But there's a deeper implication. If energy is everywhere, if the vacuum is full of potential, then the universe is alive, not in a biological sense, but in an energetic sense. The field is constantly vibrating, constantly creating and annihilating, constantly in motion, and we are part of it. Our bodies are patterns of energy, our thoughts are frequencies. We are not separate from the field. We are expressions of it. Temporary configurations of energy that arise, persist for a time, and then dissolve back into the whole. Tesla saw this. He said we are all one, connected through the field. And when you understand energy correctly, when you see it as Tesla did, you realize that separation is an illusion. Everything is energy. Everything is vibration. Everything is connected. So why don't they teach this in schools? Why do textbooks give you incomplete definitions and formulas without explaining the deeper truth? Because knowledge is power, and those in power want to keep it. If you understand energy the way Tesla did, you become dangerous. You start asking questions. You start building things. You start realizing that the systems we live under are unnecessary. That scarcity is manufactured. That control is maintained through ignorance. Tesla wanted to give this knowledge to everyone. He wanted to empower humanity, and he was destroyed for it. He died alone, broke, forgotten. His inventions were seized. His legacy was distorted. And for over a century, his greatest discoveries have been hidden. But the truth cannot be buried forever. People are rediscovering Tesla's work, building replicas of his devices, testing his theories. And slowly, inevitably, the truth is coming out. Let me leave you with this. Tesla said the present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine. He knew his work would be suppressed in his lifetime. But he also knew that eventually humanity would be ready for it. Maybe that time is now. Maybe we're finally ready to understand what energy really is. To move beyond the limitations of fossil fuels and centralized power, to tap into the infinite energy of the quantum field. To build the future Tesla envisioned, a future of abundance, of freedom, of unlimited possibility. But it starts with knowledge, with understanding, with refusing to accept incomplete explanations and demanding the truth. Energy is not what you were taught. It's something far more fundamental, far more powerful, and far more accessible than anyone wants you to know. If this video opened your eyes to what energy really is, then you have a responsibility. Subscribe to this channel right now, hit that like button, and share this video with everyone. This information has been suppressed for over 100 years. It's time to bring it into the light. I'll keep making videos that reveal the hidden truths of science and reality, and you need to be here for all of it. So subscribe, share, and join the movement to reclaim Tesla's legacy. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll go even deeper into the mysteries Tesla uncovered.